a couple of things. First and foremost, how about those Minnesota Timberwolves? We're gonna go ahead and start with the Minnesota Timberwolves. We have to start with the Minnesota Timberwolves. There is no other way but to get into it with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Sam. So the Minnesota Timberwolves, man, brought that juice on last night from so many perspectives, man. There's so many ways, there's so many things, man, that I want to get into. But first and foremost, man, I really enjoyed, I really enjoyed Malone's post-game conference. I really did. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you, not even a little bit. That post-game conference of Malone was something special for me. And the reason why it was something special because Mike Malone is a trip. Because when it came to when it was beating down the Lakers, Malone has so much to say. He has so much mouth, so much lips, so many things that he wanted to get off his chest about LeBron, about the Lakers, and how they're the NBA champions. But it's quite ironic that he wants to get in his feelings when the reporter asks him, "How did it feel? What was he thinking? What's the emotions he was going through when they let go of a 20-point lead in the second half?" What happened? What happened? Did he wants to get all in his feelings and everything like that and totally disrespected the reporter? The reporter is doing his job. His job is to ask you questions. And it's your job as the head coach of the Denver Nuggets is to make sure that you have some type of response that is professional after you getting your butt whipped. But Malone didn't want to choose that route. He wanted to choose a whole nother route, and he wanted to just to do some cursing and things, which I don't have a problem with him cursing, but it was the tone. It was how he responded to the reporter that was not warranted. Let me tell y'all something, man. Let's kind of go into the box score of this game. And it was a great game. I enjoyed every bit of it. As you can see here, you had Jaden McDaniels had 23 points. Then you had Karl Anthony Towns, 23 points. Then you had Anthony Edwards, 16 points. Rudy Gobert scored 13 points. Mike Conley, 10 points. And then you had Naz Reid had 11 points. Kyle Anderson had 2 points. Shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves, man, because this was a team effort. This was a team effort. And one of the things I like what Anthony Edwards said is that he said that there's multiple ways that I can be effective on the basketball court. I'm not just a one-dimensional player. What did he mean by that? I just don't score the basketball. That's not the only thing that I can do very well. I can get rebounds. I can block shots. I can do other things that can be effective for my team to win. Give me 1 second, y'all. I have someone calling me real quick. All righty, man. So Anthony Edwards was saying to the reporters is that, I'm not just a one-dimensional player. I can be effective on multiple ends of the basketball court. And when you hear someone talk like that, man, it brings a level of excitement because that's what I've been wanting to see from an NBA player. I've been wanting to see from an NBA player who takes pride in playing defense. And let me say this. Anthony Edwards' defense on Jamal Murray in the first half was amazing. His defense on Jamal Murray not in the first half, in the second half was amazing. You saw someone who was ready. You saw someone who was prepared. You saw someone that wanted to make sure that he puts his stamp on the game by playing defense. And he really did that against Jamal Murray because Jamal Murray ended up, I think he had like 24 points, something like that in the first half, and then only end up scoring like 10 points or 11 points in the second half. And that's all because of Anthony Edwards. He took on the challenge. And when you have someone like that that's willing to take the challenge and to say, you know what, I'm going to play defense. I'm going to stop you. And like Anthony Edwards said, I put handcuffs on him. Because you have to understand, them two was going back and forth at it, drawing words, and that's cool because when you're in the heat of battle and when you're in competition, things like this happens all the time. There's no need to somebody to get all out of bent out of shape because this is normal. This is normal way of competition. You're talking about professional level basketball. And Anthony Edwards took it personally. One thing I like about Anthony Edwards, man, is that his confidence is through the roof. How he said it from the beginning, he said, when they lost game 5, he said, don't worry about it. We're going to be back for a game 7. Don't worry about it. We will be back for a game 7. And guess what? He ended up doing that. Him and his team. He ended up encouraging his team. He ended up leading his team to go back to Denver. Now, Minnesota played terrible in the first half, man. Terrible. But guess what? In the second half, they was able to regain some confidence. They was able to get a better flow of their offense. And guess what? Their defense got their offense jump started. Their defense got their offense jump started. And that's all you can ask for when you're talking about a basketball team that is struggling offensively. They started playing lockdown defense. And when you play lockdown defense the way they was playing lockdown defense, it got them prepared or jump started to getting more aggressive shots on the offensive side of the ball. You saw Anthony Edwards. He got a steal off Jamal Murray. Then you saw Mike Conley. He got a steal off Jamal Murray. So when you're talking about a team that's really zoned in on their defense the way they are zoned in, they are long, they are athletic. And you saw a Denver team that was tired. Denver was tired. And you're talking about a young Minnesota team that actually went into the Denver Nuggets arena and won a game 7. And I just enjoyed the smirk that it was just off of Malone's face. Let me tell you something, man. The reason why I don't like Malone is because Malone talks a lot of trash for an NBA head coach. For somebody who can't go on the basketball court and score a basket, he talks a lot of trash. And how ironic that this team, Minnesota, whooped them. Came back from a 20-point deficit, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they beat down the Denver Nuggets. So now let's get into this series with the Dallas Mavericks, right? Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this with Dallas. First of all, I'm taking Minnesota. Minnesota is who I'm taking far as in this matchup between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks. The Minnesota Timberwolves are going to beat the Dallas Mavericks and they're going to go on to go into the NBA Finals. The reason why I'm picking the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's not just because of Anthony Edwards. He is that dog. He is that leader. It's because of their matchups, man. Let me tell you something. The Dallas Mavericks will struggle. Now, they have Luka. He can score points. Kyrie, he can score points. But the size, they're going to get obliterated on the size difference. Man, look at it. You got Rudy Gobert. You got Karl Anthony Towns. They're almost like 2 7-footers. Then you got Naz Reid. I mean, you got players, and then you got, I didn't even talk about their wing players. You got Jaden McDaniels. Come on now. And hell, Kyle Anderson may have even a better series, a better performance in this series than he did in Denver. Because there's going to be some mismatches. There will be some mismatches, and Jason Kidd's going to have his work cut out for him because he's going to have to come with the strategy and a good lineup that's going to be prepared for the Minnesota Timberwolves because you got a nightmare coming. You got nightmares coming at you, Jason Kidd. And let me say this. Luka, let me go ahead and say it right off the bat, Luka. If you think you're gonna come up here and doing all that whining, Luka, and all this stuff, whining and crying to the referees about far as you getting fouled and you getting hacked and all this type of stuff, Luka always cries to the referees. And it is crazy to me. He's always whining and complaining. If you do that again against the Minnesota Timberwolves, you're going to find yourself getting blowed out easily by 20 plus points. You're going to have to bring your A game every night, Luka. You're going to have to bring your A game, and it's going to be a physical dogfight. Then you got to go to Minnesota. And let me tell you something. Luka is a defensive liability. Luka Doncic is a defensive liability. Anthony Edwards is going to have a field day against the Dallas Mavericks. You heard what I said? Anthony Edwards will have a field day against the Dallas Mavericks. Who's going to stop Anthony Edwards? First and foremost, you ain't gonna put Luka on. Luka too slow. And Luka and Luka do have some strength. Now, I'm not gonna say he's some weak chump, but with that being said, he can't stop no Anthony Edwards. Kyrie Irving, he ain't gonna be able to stop Anthony Edwards. Too small. Come on now. Let's be real. Let's honestly be real about that situation. Who else you got? Let's kind of go to the Dallas Mavericks lineup, man. We gotta do it. All right, so here goes the Dallas Mavericks lineup right here. You got Greg Brown the third. You got Luka Doncic. You got Dante Exum. You have Alex Fudge. You have Daniel Gafford. You have Josh Green, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jaden Hardy, Kyrie Irving, Derrick Jones, Maxi Kleber, AJ Lawson, Derek Lively II, Markieff Morris, Dwight Powell, PJ Washington, Brandon Williams, Oliver Maxence Prosper. Now, I know a couple of these players are, not playing at all. But let me say this. This lineup is not going to be able to match up well against the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's not. Now, I'm not saying that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to sweep the Dallas Mavericks. I'm not saying that. Hell, I'll even give it Dallas Mavericks 2 games. They'll win 2 games. They'll win 2 games just based off on the talent and the gifts of Luka and Kyrie Irving. But let's make no mistake about it. It's going to be a dogfight, and it's going to be a lot of mismatches that the Dallas Mavericks is going to eventually succumb to the Minnesota Timberwolves because they're going to get tired. They're going to be getting a lot of foul trouble. The offense, you got better shooters, I feel, from the Minnesota Timberwolves. If they're hitting their shots, they're hitting their shots. If they miss their shots, they will struggle, but then they will play lockdown defense to get their offense going. And that's something that is very important to understand when you're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. There is a lot of things that you have to understand that's going to come into this matchup where there's going to be a lot of mismatches. And you're going to have to lean in a lot on Luka. Luka seems like he gets banged up in every game that he play against. Every time I see Luka, when he gets banged, he gets hit in the mouth, get banged on the shoulder, get banged on the shin, his ankle. He gon' grasp and he gonna say, I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. He's gonna find some type of way to where something is wrong with him, whether his shoulder, his elbow, his arm, his kneecap, his ankles, his foot. It's going to be something. So you best believe that's going to come. But let's make no mistake about it. Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to bring it. They have to, the Dallas Mavericks have to come to Minnesota. And I'm telling you, the arena is going to be full of energy come Wednesday night. And I'm trying to tell you right now, Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves, they can smell it. They can feel it. And they understand to live in the moment right now. And they feel like they have a great opportunity, a great chance to make it to the NBA Finals. And I believe that they're going to do just that. So what I want to do, man, I want to kind of go into Malone's post-game conference. Check this out right here.
What changed defensively for you guys after you went up 20 in the second half?
Our offense.
Did you feel like there was anything that you guys got away from offensively in that stretch after you reached that point?
I'll have to go back and watch the film.
How hard is it just to absorb a loss like this after going ahead by 20?
Next question, man. The season's over. That's what's hard. Being up 20. The season's over. You don't understand that. The season's over. It's hard. Stupid ass questions.
Nicole and Jamal,
Bro.
carried a lot of the burden offensively for you guys. What sort of broke down between them within the second half, just within those actions?
Well, I think so much was being placed on their shoulders. I mean, it was we're expecting Nicola and Jamal to continue to pull rabbits out of their hat, man, and somebody else got to give some help. I mean, Joker 34, Jamal 35, and we just struggle to make shots. They're a really good defense. I thought our guys played extremely hard tonight to hold that team to 98 points, 39 from the field, 29 from three. But as I said all series long, are we going to be able to score enough in this series? And once again, in the 4 losses, we couldn't score. I think now after the 4 losses, we probably average around 85 points a game and 115 in the 3 wins. So we had it going. Jamal had it going in the first half. We scored. And obviously at halftime, they picked up their aggression, ran off our misses. They became aggressive. And then the second half, they totally dominated the glass. We dominated in the first half. In the second half, they rebounded us 29-15.
Coach, were you satisfied with the quality of the offense in terms of the process of getting shots, or was it one of those things where you thought that missed shots kind of affected what you guys did on that end and on the other end as well?
No, I mean I don't think our missed shots affected anything except the scoreboard. I mean, again,
Yeah, it did affect you. It did affect you. Not making shots. At the end of the day, the Minnesota Timberwolves defense affected y'all big time. Clamp down. I said this, and I said this, right? Because I know I probably have some Nikola Jokic fans. First of all, Nikola Jokic should not have been MVP. Let me be very clear when I say that. I understand that they're defending champions, but he should not have been the MVP. Shea Alexander should have been the MVP down in OKC. Point blank, period. Now, let's get back into the situation with Mike Malone. It did affect you because at the end of the day, Nikola Jokic is not that hard to defend, y'all. Let me tell you something, especially when you're built the way the Minnesota Timberwolves are built. They are built to beat the Denver Nuggets. And let me be very clear on what I'm about to say. I'm not calling Nikola Jokic a scrub, but I see how it's getting. He has a pattern that he does every time when they get desperate, when they need a basket. He actually goes and holds the ball. Then he'll have the ball all the way out close to the 3-point line. And then they'll do some fake pick and roll, or they'll sometimes do a pick and roll or a screen. And then he rolls off of it. And then that gives him an angle to drive to the basket. As he's driving to the basket, he'll then turn his back to the defender. And then this is where bully ball comes in. What I like to call it, he throws a lot of chicken wings, a lot of nasty elbows, and he dig his elbows and his shoulders to keep pounding up against the defender, which is an offensive foul. I'm telling you, he does it all the time. And the Denver Nuggets got away with a lot of calls that Aaron Gordon should have been fouled out that game. Caldwell Pope kept fouling Anthony Edwards so many times, and the referees didn't even look to blow the whistle. So if anything, the Denver Nuggets blew it. Y'all had opportunities. The referees kept y'all in the game. But if the referees allow you to play straight up and allow the Minnesota Timberwolves to play defense, there's no way that the Denver Nuggets could beat this Minnesota Timberwolves lineup. There's no way. So y'all missing shots did affect y'all tremendously, but also the defense affect y'all. Of defense of Minnesota Timberwolves affected the Denver Nuggets. And you got out coach. Let's call it for what it is. A lot of props goes to the Minnesota Timberwolves head coach and his assistant coach. I give a lot of props to them. They made adjustments throughout that game. See, coaching is very important. It is very effective when you're talking about wanting to win and go to that next level to win a championship in any sport. You have to have a coach that has the ability to make adjustments on the fly. Like when the other team hits you in the mouth, you have to be able to be strategic to hit back in the mouth as quickly as possible. I'm telling you. And I give a lot of props to the Minnesota Timberwolves for doing just that.
They shot 39 from the field. Anthony Edwards was 6 of 24. So the missed shots didn't affect anything other than us not scoring. But to give up 98 points in a game 7 on those percentages, I'll take that all day long. Was our offense where it needed to be in that second half? I think it could definitely have been better. We could have gotten probably better looks. But again, for 82 games, they're the number one defense for a reason. And we just weren't able to make enough shots and create enough good shots in that second half.
Coach, after a great first series with Michael Porter Jr. shooting the ball, what do you think happened in this series to his game offensively?
They guarded him. Yeah, they guarded him really well. And obviously against the Lakers, he was able to get off. I don't know what the percentages are, but in our 4 losses, I know Michael didn't shoot the ball well, and he wasn't the only one, but, he was 3 of 12 tonight, 1 of 6 from 3. Last 2 games, they doubled Nicola. I felt a lot of those were good looks, just didn't go down. And I know, sometimes it's an oversimplification of the NBA being a make or miss league, but we just did not make enough shots in this series, Michael included, but he wasn't the only one. We as a team did not make enough shots, and I
Absolutely.
didn't help generate enough good looks maybe
There
to
you
help
go.
ourselves. But
There you go. That's what I wanted to hear. Accountability. Accountability from the head coach. You have to be able to create plays on the fly to get better looks for your best players. Absolutely. Absolutely.
every series is a learning opportunity, and this feeling sucks, as I told our players. You go from training camp all the way through, and then it comes to an abrupt halt, and that hurts. So use that feeling as motivation and come back a better player. We won it last year. Teams in the West, they regrouped, they retooled. How are we going to beat the champs? And teams got better. And you got to tip your cap to Minnesota. Obviously, Chris Finch, their team, Anthony Edwards, all their players. That was a hell of a series, and they gave us all we could handle. And they wound up winning Game 7 on our court, which is a tough one to swallow. But we'll be back. We just got to find ways to look inside, look outside, and find ways to continue to get better.
Coach, to fight for and top 3 seed and then to ultimately lose 3 home games in this series, how, you mentioned them winning on your home court here in the holler and in the locker room. How tough is that to swallow that you guys did lose the 3 home games?
Well, of course, we have one of the best home records in the NBA this year, and to lose 1 and 2 and then to lose 7 is I don't think anyone could have predicted that happening. I think most people had the series going 7, but not the way it went 7. It was kind of a strange series in that regard. But yeah, that's to let them come in here 3 times and beat us in our home court. That's something that we're not accustomed to. And if you're going to try to win a championship, if you're going to try to get to Western Conference Finals, obviously you got to protect your home court.
Michael, you touched on it briefly, I think, in the previous answer, but the devastation you saw from your players walking off the floor down the hallway, what kind of a message do you try to give to them? I mean, obviously, tough words, and you can see from their faces that everything they gave, and now it's over.
Yeah, it's hard. And I think, as I've gone through my NBA career as a head coach, I used to meet with players right after the season ended and talk. I don't do that anymore. It's too emotional. The sting of it is still too raw. So I think it's good for everybody to get away, for me to get away, and kind of reflect on the season in totality. Because right now, all I'm thinking of is that we're done, and that for me hurts. For our players, it hurts.
I'm glad that it hurts. I know somebody gonna call me petty, but I'm glad that it hurts. I'm glad to see that smile off his face, that chip on his shoulder, where he just had that type of bravado about himself that, hey, we're gonna win regardless. Let me tell y'all something. Move over. Now, Anthony Edwards, there is a new sheriff in town. Now, I do believe that Anthony Edwards needs to win the chip this season. Ride this wave all the way out. Ride it all the way out. Take advantage of it. Soak it in. And do not take for granted any game. Any game. Play hard. Put all gas, no brakes.
Get back to work. We all have to dig deep, look inside, come back better individually, and then as a team, as a group, we'll get with Calvin, we'll get with Josh, and you're always looking at ways to get better, and that's what we're going to do.
Coach, I think Kevin Harlan said on the TV broadcast that this is the 6th straight year the defending champ hasn't gotten past the second round. What do you think that says about just how tough it is to advance as the defending champ?
Well, we knew it was hard. Something I talked to our team about in training camp. I think the last team to do it was the 17-18 Warriors. And with the rules being what they are now, I think it's going to become even harder and harder to repeat as champions. But the one thing I keep on going back to right now is that I consider the San Antonio Spurs a dynasty, and they never won back-to-back. So losing, the hurt of it, the pain of it, it helped us win our first championship. Can we use this year? We tied a franchise record, 57 wins. We went 21-6 out of the All-Star break. We really stepped up. Beat the Lakers in the first round and lost to a very talented Timberwolves team who held the number 1 seed most of the year until the very end. So it is hard. It is hard. It is hard to repeat. It's hard to win. And we all got to do whatever it takes to not have this feeling again next year. But I'm very proud of the entire team, all 18 players, everything they sacrificed since Labor Day. I'm very
Okay, then that's enough of that. It is what it is. You lost. Time to go home, going fishing, wherever you're going, but you got to get the hell up out of there. You're gone. I want to go now to Anthony Edwards. I'll hear a little bit of this one right here.
20, I think, in the third quarter. Like, what did you notice? What flipped for you guys to allow you to climb back in it and take this?
Started hitting some shots, playing some defense, even better at a higher level, I thought. And just this is Timberwolves basketball. I think this was just a real showing of Timberwolves basketball at its finest. Where it's a team effort. We got hype for players that we have, me, him included on this table. But like I said, we don't have a big 3. We got a big 15. We every single person on this team means a lot to this team, and they help in so many different ways. And this game just shows that the Timberwolves, not Anthony Edwards, not Karl Anthony Towns, not Rudy Gobert, the Timberwolves are a special team.
Down at the end of the game, you got hundreds of fans right behind your bench going. And what was that moment like for you? You've been through a lot with this franchise. Just what were your emotions like as you soaked in?
Yeah, I don't know. The cameras caught it, but I definitely had a moment. Just, I've been here 9 years. I've talked about wanting to win and do something special here at this organization. And, for all the failures and all the things that didn't materialize and happen, and the disappointment that comes with it, to be having this moment where even just for this moment, we get to celebrate the wins, For me, being here 9 years, I've seen everything and seen it all. And 9 years, just, man, right? But this year, to be in here and this year, these guys, this team, after all that, it just is super special.
And you talked about the job Karl's done defending Jokic and how important that has been in this series. Kind of felt like you guys really needed the offensive push from him today. In addition to that, what stood out to you about his game tonight?
He made all the right plays tonight. Like, once again, he only took 14 shots. He's always super efficient from the field. And he carried us tonight. Every time we needed a bucket, he was there for us. We gave it to him in the post multiple times. He made the right play multiple times, over and over again. And we get on him about crashing from the top, but today he crashed from the top for a big bucket that we needed. So big shout out, for sure. He put us on his back tonight.
They hate when it don't work, and they love
they love when it works. That's all I go.
For game 5, but you win 2 elimination games and you KO the champs in their own house at game 7. Just what type of statement win do you believe this to be about this team and the way you guys were able to win today?
I mean, it showed us who we are. Because the coaches believed in us, even though at halftime, even in the third, we was down 20. They just keep making runs. And it showed us who we are, man. Once we really lock in on the defensive end, because offensively we played okay. But once we really lock in on the defensive end, man, we're a hell of a team to beat.
That's facts. And that's facts right there. I've said it. What gets their offense going is when they play defense. The slogan, Offense will get you to win games, but when you play defense, you will win championships. And I believe that slogan will never get old. That slogan is tried and true. It's facts. It's not lie. It is a fact that if you focus on the defensive side of the ball as well, just as much as you do on offense, if not a little bit more on defense, it's going to open up things for you on the offensive side of the ball. You may ask how. Well, one of the aspects what helped them playing defense is they was able to get some fast break points. Do you know how huge that is to be able to get steals and be able to get fast break points? When you start seeing that ball go in the basket and getting easy baskets, that builds confidence. It builds a mental fortitude into your team. It gives your team life. And once your team have that life and have that belief system that, you know what, we can score. You know what, we can beat this team. We can lock down this team. When you start seeing that life from a mental perspective, as you start getting those steals and start getting layups, easier baskets, that's going to open up the whole game for you on the offensive side of the ball, and it demoralizes your opponent. It does, big time.
And it was along that run. I think it was something like 31-9, maybe even better than that, from late in the or early in the third to early in the fourth. Was there a sequence that where you're like, okay, we got this. The game is back, turning in our favor?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know.
Turnaround.
Yeah, I think when Rudy hit the turnaround, I was like, yeah, we probably got him. Because I know that'll kill you. I know that'll kill that'll kill everything. Yeah.
Hey,
big shout out to Big Roo, man. Big Roo hit the turnaround on their ass.
On God's day, too.
Yeah, I think that's when I knew we had him, once he hit that turnaround.
You guys, Carl got that fifth foul, and Naz Reid came in and set the tone on both ends of the floor. Just talk about how special he's been this series and what he means to this team.
Me and Kat was just talking about it up here. I think the plus minus stuff is trash because Naz, when Kat got his fifth foul, Naz came in and he played great defense on Jokic. Got a couple offensive rebounds, hit a big shot, got a big dunk, got a couple steals. He played hard, man. So, it's super important to our team, and we tell him all the time, just stay with it, and he stayed with it tonight, and it showed for sure.
I think just for me, it's just anyone who doubted him being the sixth man of the year, the silence would be louder.
He showed it tonight.
For you guys, what does it look like when, at halftime, when Finch comes in and is ticked?
You say what?
Finch comes in and is mad, and clearly mad. What does that look like at halftime?
He wasn't really mad today. It was more so he was like, I know we're gonna win this game. We just got to do this to win the game. He wasn't really mad. He just came in, and the clips on the screen were this is what we got to do to come back and win this game. Mm-hmm. If we do it, we'll win. If we don't, we're gonna lose. And we did that.
For you guys, what are your early thoughts perhaps on facing Dallas in the next round?
Honestly, I think this for us, we just so happy about this moment. We can't even think about the next moment.
I'm thinking about it.
But I would say for us,
you heard Anthony Edwards. I'm thinking about it, man. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I am so glad to be able to have a player like Anthony Edwards in the NBA. It gives you something to look forward to for years to come. The guy's only 22 years old. And to be able to have this mentality, this type of mindset, this competitive nature about him. Let me tell you something. He is the face of the NBA. He is the face of the NBA. I believe the NBA is showing that he is becoming the face of the NBA. Just look at the marketing that they're doing around this young man. Look at the commercials that he has. Look at the marketing ads and the signs that they're pulling up for Anthony Edwards. Just look. It's something special, man, and it just tip your hat off to Anthony Edwards' work ethic And you still, with hard work and the work ethic he has the gifts to even match that. He has the size, he has the strength, he has the athleticism, he has the charisma. And when you have all those things that's packaged in and you have the work ethic to go with those things, it's no surprise Anthony Edwards is a superstar player and is becoming the face of the NBA. After this, I'm going to show you this post from Bleacher Report, this video that they created, which I thought was phenomenal, man. But let's go ahead and finish off a little bit more of this post game.
We just gotta, if we continue to play Timberwolves basketball, it will fix a lot of problems that we may have with that team and what they do best. So as long as we play Timberwolves branded basketball, I think I like our chances.
For sure. For both of you guys, just what does it mean to go back to Target Center? Now you're going to be hosting the Western Conference Finals in front of your fans. Just what this means for the organization in general.
I'm gonna let you talk about that. I only been here 3 years.
Oh, now you only been here 3 years. The fans have been waiting for this moment, and this team has brought them this moment. So, it's up to us now to capitalize on this opportunity and be the best team we could be. And like I said, play Timberwolves basketball. Every time this series we play Timberwolves basketball, we've had the result we've been looking for. And every time we try to deviate from that plan, it hasn't done well. So the fans know what they want.
Today was crazy. We was down 20.
That wasn't Timberwolves basketball. That was Park basketball. Then we started.
That was Wolves basketball.
Then we started playing. That was Wolves. Now we play Timberwolves at the end. Yes, sir.
This is for either one of you guys. And usually in NBA history, it says you have to lose and lose big before you win. What is it about this team that says
we lost last year?
Yeah, but that's different. You have to lose at a bigger stage. Usually, teams.
It's the playoffs. We lost last year.
We lost the last 2 years. Shit.
God damn. How much more we got to lose?
How much you want us to lose?
We're losing for 20 years.
I mean, that's just the truth, dog.
God damn.
What makes you guys believe that you guys don't have to wait any longer, that just getting past the second round isn't the goal, that you guys can win the next 2 rounds?
I think and I think this is the biggest thing to answer that question. It starts with our head coach, Chris Finch. He comes in every day, comes to work, he gets there early. He's thinking of ways to get me and Kat open looks. He's thinking of ways to get Mike and Rudy open looks. He's thinking of ways to get Jaden involved. He's trying to keep Nas in it to get him involved. He's just a great coach, and he don't sugarcoat anything with anybody. Like, if Kat f***ing up, he gonna get on Kat. If I'm f***ing up, he gonna get on me. If Rudy f***ing up, he gonna get on anybody that's messing up throughout the game. And I think that's what makes him the best coach in the NBA to me, because no matter who it is, no matter how high the player is on the pole, he's gonna get on you from start to finish. And it starts with the head of the snake, and he's the head of our snake. And we all listen to him, look up to him, and he do a great job of making sure we're ready to go every night.
Guys, I know this is something very special, but what are your thoughts about that you are doing this 20 years later exactly than the first time that the Timberwolves were in a Western Conference Finals with KG?
I mean, just shout out.
Let me just tell you something, man. A lot of props, man, with this team, man, with these players, especially with these two. I remember early in the season, before the season, Anthony Edwards was just talking about how he encouraged Karl Anthony Towns that he needed him. He needed him big time. And in order for them to go deep into the season, he wanted to make sure that Karl Anthony Towns' head is on straight from a mental perspective. And when you have someone that believe in you like that, the sky's the limits. And he first was talking about how it's important to eat right. But listen to this video. Watch this video right here. This video is something special right here. Get cozy with all the little horses. Man, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something, man. Stop playing, man. This is so special, man. The marketing around Anthony Edwards and what he's doing. He can go down as probably having one of the best all around performance in playoff histories, man. For real, he is definitely bringing it, and he's just a joy to watch out there on the basketball court, man. Tune in to my next video, but you know what? I'm probably going to talk a little bit about the Indiana Pacers game. Let me just say this with the Indiana Pacers. I've called it before the series started that the Indiana Pacers was going to win this game, win this series. Let me just start off from multiple perspectives. The Indiana Pacers was clearly the better team. For them to go into New York in the game 7 to win convincingly the way they did, 130 to 109, it just lets you know that they had a chip on their shoulders. It just lets you know with that jaw dropping, trash talking that Josh Hart was doing when he said what he said to Reggie Miller. Guess what? They got that ass back. They got that ass back big time, because it's not about how you start, but it's how you finish. And the Indiana Pacers finish in a strong way to beat down the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks couldn't answer them. The New York Knicks could not respond. The Indiana Pacers punched them in the gut, then they punched them in the mouth, and then it was lights out. Point blank, straight to the point, no sugarcoating it. The better team definitely won the series. And I just enjoyed seeing Spike Lee again with both his hands on his head in disbelief, disappointment, with those big old glasses. And guess what? Y'all choked again, Spike Lee. Y'all choked again. And in game 7, you couldn't get no better foundation than you had, Spike Lee. Spike Lee, you can't get no better than having the opportunity to go back to your home court for a game 7 where you supposedly have home court advantage, and then to fumble the game by losing in this fashion. Y'all not winning no championship anytime soon. None anytime soon. So with that being said, man, y'all make sure y'all go ahead and like the stream, man. Share the stream. Be greatly appreciated. And stay tuned to my next live video. Take care.